that's a good question. Excuse me. I assume he's talking about the 24, 25 classes. Man, off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody, but as soon as we hang up from this show, I'm sure I'll think of somebody. But not offhand, I can't think of anybody. Sorry.
He was asking. You're good, man. He was asking about Cody Taylor of Greenwood. I didn't know if that was a name that rings a bell with you this morning.
I've heard the name, but I'm not going to lie to you. Don't know a lot. I mean, he's an offensive lineman, right?
Yes, correct.
Right. No, I haven't heard the name to the point where I'm thinking that he could possibly get an offer. Not saying it won't happen at some point, but right as of right now, I'd say no.
You know what's unique about Arkansas that I was listening to Scott Fountain yesterday? Sam Pittman's not willing to give a special teams kid a scholarship. Other coaches are not. What do you think about using scholarship for kickers? It sure seemed to pay off for a true freshman. Only missed 4 field goals last year, Richard.
Oh, absolutely. And when you're, again, we talk about Arkansas, they're not the Alabama or Georgia and top tier teams as of right now. It could change in the future. History says that Arkansas may not ever reach that talent level on a consistent basis, but one of the ways you're able to kind of close the gap is have a strong special teams program and be able to win the special teams. That's very, very, very important, especially in a situation like, let's say, a punter. I mean, a guy could turn over the field. It looks like you're deep in your in their territory your territory, and you're having to punt, and it looks like your opponent's going to have excellent field position, potential to score, at least get a field goal, and a punter can change that. So that's huge in itself. And then going back to the place kicker, that's big. You can win or lose games just on your place kicker and his accuracy. And then you go back to what Arkansas has the last few years been able to do really well is kicking out of the end zone on kickoffs, and right there minimizing their kickoff returns, and that also allows you to keep them from maybe potentially returning a kick for a touchdown. I always call special teams scores a cheap touchdown. When I say cheap touchdown, just because it's just you're just not expecting it for overall, but you get one in a game that's pretty evenly matched as far as the teams and their talent. That's a game changer there.
Yeah. Richard, I want to circle back to something that Ty and I were talking about a minute ago. The Board of Governors for college football were meeting, the power brokers, and there's potential that somewhere down the line, maybe a new division or separating out the top schools from the rest of the world in college football. If you had a clean slate and you were making up all the new rules and the way schools would operate, what would be important in your mind as to how recruiting would be set up if you had a clean slate and made it a fresh start? How would you set recruiting rules up, or what would be 2 or 3 important things in your mind?
Oh boy, I think first right now you got to get a handle on the NIL situation. Even Congress or somebody's going to have to step in and take care of that. Get some national uniformity rules in place. Until that happens, it's going to continue to just be crazy. That would be number one. And even then, if you have national rules in place, who has confidence in the NCAA enforcing those rules? I don't. So I still think it's going to be a mess, even once that's accomplished, if it ever is. Others, I'll be honest with you, I would like to get rid of the really early offers. I don't think that there's going to be any kind of legislation that stops that. I just think it's ridiculous to be offering 7th, 8th graders and then even 9th graders. I just wish they would just wait till kids got, till they were sophomores. but I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think it's just, and I'll be honest with you, some college, I think a lot of college coaches are turned off by it too, but they have to play the game in order to get, in with a kid early. If a kid gets an early offer, that puts pressure on you, especially if you're in in-state school. So, those are the couple of things off the top. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I would I think is this earth-shattering type of a situation.
I think those are two things that are on a lot of people's minds. But let's talk about early in this year, because one of the things coaches want to do is get kids on campus and get one of their official visits. How important in your mind is the outcome of the Cincinnati and, say, South Carolina game to maybe getting an out-of-state four-star kid to commit one of his officials? Are those first couple of games, do they matter that much, or is that just something fans have anxiety over?
Yeah, it just depends on the kid. Obviously, they're winning always helps. And with Arkansas, obviously winning 9 games last year, the trend is going up, and kids notice that, and they get more excited about the program. And then if you start off hot this year with the first 2 games, 2 very, very good, evenly matched, at least on paper, matchups overall. I think that could turn a kid's attention. You're not just a one season success. It looks like that you're going to be going towards another season where you're going to have a good year, good record. So kids are turned on by success, and let's face it, most of these kids that are being recruited right now, until last year, Arkansas really hasn't done anything the last few years, especially in guys that are, say, juniors. I mean, Arkansas hasn't impressed anybody. I mean, if you're a prospect over the last few years with the record. So they're turning the tide slowly, and they have to kind of continue that.
It seemed like that was the story with Landon Jackson out of Texarkana, that he was considering Arkansas high up on his list, but 2 back-to-back 2-10 seasons, he's like, nope, goes to LSU, then sees what Arkansas is doing, and flips over to Arkansas. Sam Pittman, Richard, was talking about stability and NIL being close to the top of the list when it comes to recruiting. How far up is winning up there?
Winning is huge. Winning is up there. Kids, especially kids that are high-profile kids, and I think kids in general. I shouldn't just say just high-profile kids. Kids in general, they want to win and have the opportunity to win championships and be spotlighted. The more you win, the bigger games that you play in, and all the attention that goes with that. So. That helps. And then another thing, I mean, there's several other things, but that's definitely one of the more important things, in my opinion. And it helps you so much more to be able to go and get into the living room and get a kid to take your call when you're having success.
Richard, I think you know more than anyone else how important this home schedule is, with so many marquee games coming to Fayetteville. How many potential recruits do you think we could see if Arkansas lives up to the billing and these games are worth? I mean, what does that look like this fall with so many top 25 matchups in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Well, Alabama game always draws the biggest amount of kids. Kids want to see big games, and then obviously see the atmosphere. I think with the Alabama game, you're probably going to see about 70 to 100 kids for that particular game. The other games, you're probably going to have anywhere from 50 to 70 or maybe even 80. Just depends on how big the game is and how the season's going. And then it goes back to winning, like we just talked about. Winning, it creates excitement around your program, and kids want to be around it.
Tommy, you got anything else?
I'm good, man. Richard, I'm excited. I'll tell you what else. I do have this. high school football is just over a week away. We're in Harrison this morning, Richard, doing the show, and they're excited up here. I know across the state. I mean, there's got to be some high schools and some games you've probably already penciled in, week 0 and week 1, to get out to see. Is there a game or two that you've already kind of got on your agenda, some players you want to see as high school football is a week away?
Yeah, I plan on being at the Salt Bowl, Benton and Bryant. Two reasons there. I mean, obviously, it's a big rivalry, but you got Braylon Russell, Arkansas commit for the 24 class for Benton, and T.J. Lindsey, the defensive lineman, another 24 prospect who Arkansas is really hoping to land at some point. And look at some other guys that maybe have a chance to maybe be recruited by D1 and schools in Arkansas.
What do you think the crowd? I mean, that's always the largest crowd of any high school game. What do you think it is? Is it 30? Is it 35,000? What do they get to War Memorial this year?
Yeah, I think it'll be in the 30-35 range. It's usually, when there's a lot of anticipation for the game. I think with Benton, obviously enduring a long losing streak to Bryant and having Braylon Russell as your running back, it may give them a little bit more excitement about the game and thinking they have a chance to win, and we'll see. But and Benton's a very solid program, but obviously Bryant's got it going, and Buck James has got a lot of excitement, around the Hornet program.
Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. That's BELIEVE, BLEAV 50. Bet online, where the game starts.